Morning. It is such a rainy day here. It is very. My boyfriend this morning, he said, "Is this like what Seattle is like?" Because prior to moving to Texas over a decade ago now, I lived in Seattle for almost a decade. This Northern California girl likes to travel a little bit. So I've bounced around the states and, growing up in Northern California, weather was, for the most part, pretty damn good, other than some of those foggy days. But then moving to Seattle, everybody thinks Seattle is this rainy, rainy place. And it's not. I always laughed living up there. I was like, this is just something that anybody who lives in Seattle kind of tells other people so that nobody moves up here, because it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. But the thing with Seattle is that it's kind of just overcast probably 250 days of the year, which can get old. And yeah, it can rain any given day of the week for sure. So you kind of just get used to that, carry stuff with you. But this is not Seattle weather. It is not. There are days in Seattle that are most certainly like this, but this is not your everyday Seattle weather. I don't know why I'm even talking about Seattle. Maybe I need to go on a trip to Seattle. I don't know. One of my favorite people actually was talking about Seattle the other day, so that's probably why I'm talking about it. Who knows? Anyway, I'm actually just probably giving everybody time to pop on, realize, hey, Kendall's on this morning a little bit earlier than normal because my baby boy will be here in a couple hours. So I wanted to make sure I had conscious coffee done and got an article out to you and kind of just discuss some of the topics that have been coming up over the week with different people that I've been working. Things that I see my fellow practitioners, teachers, educators talking about this week. This is the week of love. It is Valentine's week. It's right around the corner. All the people out there, I know lots of people are like, what are you doing for Valentine's? What are you doing for Valentine's? Well, I'm going to be having a romantic dinner with all my men. And that meaning the guy that I'm currently dating and my sons and my daughters will be there as well. So we are just having a nice probably just some good steaks and a bottle of wine, fire, and a movie, because I don't want to go out into the hustle and bustle of Valentine's and all the crazy out there. It's like, it's not, I'd rather have love every day of the week instead of it just designated for this one day that Hallmark and Hollywood have proclaimed to be the day of love. It's just a bunch of bullshit to me. But anyway, on that note, I was thinking about it. And here's the reality. I've had a lot of sex in the last couple days, and I was thinking about sex, and I was thinking about orgasm, and I was thinking about the depth of orgasm, and I've had some really good cervical orgasms and some amazing G-spot orgasms in the last few days, and not a whole lot of clitoral orgasms, and that's kind of a blessing. And somebody might go, well, what? Well, how the hell are you going to orgasm if your clit's not getting stroked and stuff? It doesn't always have to get stroked. That is kind of like the masculine version of orgasm there. Does it feel good? Oh yeah, it feels good, but it is just this high that then drops you, and it almost becomes too edgy to be able to handle anymore. Where when we go into the stimulation of the whole vaginal canal and we get into the concept of that and what is a cervical orgasm, what is a G-spot orgasm, these are the things that I teach classes on. These are the things that I work with couples and on singles, because as women, we have been really taught to not embrace our sexuality. We have been taught to not embrace who we are as sexual creatures. And the men in our lives, in the world, most certainly do not understand female sexuality at all. And even some of the most passionate, most conscientious, present lovers that I have personally experienced, I can say still don't get it. They still don't get it. And bless you men out there for trying, but there's just so much that goes into it. So today I decided that we're not going to really talk about sex. Sorry, that was the end of that sexual little spiel there. That's all of the vaginal talk that I'm really going to be talking about. It'll probably pop up a little bit, but I was thinking about, what is it that really does it for us women? Because this is the week of love. And night before last, I got home from a client meeting that I was at, and when I walked in my front door, there were a dozen red roses by my front door. And I instantly thought that my guy had put the roses by the front door. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. But they seemed like these roses looked a little abused. Hey, morning, Pam. Morning, Addison. These roses, they looked a little abused sitting by my front door. There they were sitting, and they just were like, they're drooping their heads, and were losing their petals. They just didn't look like happy roses. But still, beautiful red roses. Who's going to ever complain about having some roses at their doorstep at 10 o'clock at night, right? So I walked in the door, and I anticipated that he had done this for me. I took the roses, and I was like, dang, like these things look like somebody took them and was like beating somebody with them, because their poor little heads are coming off. And, as I worked through the roses and I'm trimming them up and putting them in a vase and, giving them some food, I was like, either they've been sitting there all day long, or something's happened to these roses. Something has happened to these roses. Well, last night I got in from all my client appointments, and my daughter, who lives right next door to me, she had made pot roast. It's always nice. I was like, thank you so much. On my drive home, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. Should I grab something? Maybe I should just, eat some fruit tonight, a salad, something like that. And she messaged me, and she's like, Mom, I already cooked dinner. So she's like, I made pot roast today. There's pot roast and salad waiting for you. I was like, oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Now I feel loved. My baby girl took care of me. So I walked in, and the roses that were at the door sitting on my breakfast table, and she was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, my sister, her younger sister, got into a fight with her boyfriend, I guess, the day before out front, and they had some verbal heated discussion. And so he leaves, and she comes inside my house, and chills and everything. And he comes back with a dozen red roses, and he gives them to her as though this is the apology that's going to make it all work. And she takes the roses and basically just flings them at him, I guess, and yells at him, I don't want your effing roses. That's not what I want. This isn't going to solve anything, blah, 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 blah. And so the roses were abused. Come to find out, these poor roses were abused. They actually did go flying through the air, hit a car, hit something. Who knows? She probably beat him with them. I don't know. She can get a little heated. Love her. She's very, very fiery Leo. But I was thinking, sitting here, because the roses are still sitting on my table, and they're just drooping and falling apart. They're definitely not gonna see Valentine's Day. They're gonna be long gone by then. Poor things. But I was thinking, I said, this is the thing. Like, this is not how we turn on our woman. This is not how we communicate with women. This is bullshit. This concept of, oh, here's a bundle of roses, that'll make everything better. This concept of, oh, let me do this and that'll make it all better. And I know you're probably going to see this, but I have a dear friend, and she was telling me, and under the bus she goes. So prepare yourself. When you hear this, prepare yourself. So I have this dear friend, and she was telling me this date that she was on, and they were fooling around, and it was their getting to the sexual time, and she was all cutesy and everything, and ready to go, and it was fine. The kissing was good, and there was some good interaction and everything. And to get into the sexing portion of it, the foreplay portion of it, right, which should take a nice amount of long time. And this dude that she was on this date with, she's got on these cutesy panties and everything, and she's looking hot, and he goes in for the foreplay moves. So she's like, okay, and he takes her panties and he slides them to the side. And I have this thing that I call post-it stamp, and that means that when a guy post-it stamps you, this is what he does to your clit. Like that, like 3 licks, and you're good. Like, that's it. You're good. Like, that's the foreplay you get. That's all the stimulation that the vulva, the clit is going to get. Well, this guy didn't even post-it stamp her. Like, the stamp wouldn't even fucking stick on the envelope if he did this to an actual stamp. He pulled the panties to the side, missed the spot that he was going for, and went like that, put the panties back, and we're good. Like, okay, now let's get to it. Like, let's take the panties off. Let's go to this. You focus on me. And when I've heard this almost identical story so many times over the course of time. And I've heard even men tell me, I'll ask them like, well, what does foreplay mean to you? What does this mean to you? And they tell me, well, like I grab her boobs and I go like this a little bit and I kiss her a little bit and like I stroke her. I go like this a little bit on her clit and I do this movement, right? Or they go like this and I like, and then we're good. And then we're good. And I was like, how long is your typical foreplay? And they're like, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Like, it's enough. And I just think to myself, if a woman did this to a man, if we took a man's cock and we half-ass postage stamped it like that, we take it from this limp state and we just went like this, and we're like, okay, why aren't you erect? Let's go. A guy would just look at us with this look of like, you're a crazy person. You think that's gonna, like, I need something, right? I need something more. I need some stimulation more. Yet, as women, it is expected of us that we need less than, I mean, seriously, I don't even know what to call this. It's so not even attention. There's no foreplay to it. It's just basically our society and us women are allowing it to happen. We're allowing this to happen, that we don't speak our truth around what we need in the bedroom. We don't speak our truth around what we need to lead up to the bedroom. And the men in our lives don't understand because we don't speak it. They're not taught it. And then they get to their 40s, their late 30s and through their 40s and into their 50s, and they end up with a sex and relation coach, an educator, a therapist that's got to basically retrain them now. And Lord help us, because the majority of the time it doesn't work. The majority of the time they're so set in their ways that they can't fathom what is being said to them. They can't fathom it. I mean, well, a lot of guys do fathom it when I'm dealing with them, because I'm just like that brutal baseball bat that I don't care. I get sarcastic, I get rude, I make points to them in these crude ways. So I like get right through it and they just look at me like, oh my God, did you just really say that to me? And like, yeah, but that's the point, and you need to understand this because this is what you're doing to her. This is what you're doing. And they're like, well, wow. But we're not taught in general, our society is scared to death to get into our sex. We're scared to death to get our fuck on, basically. We are scared to really access the potential that we have in our sex. Earlier today, I was reading Pamela Madsen. I love her. She's a beautiful educator over on the East Coast, has a book called Shameless and everything. Ladies, that definitely go research her or get her book Shameless. She talks about, multiple lovers, exploring her sex, healing herself, what it's like to be in an open relationship. She talks about how she raised her kids and had this life, made it home in time to cook dinner and working through her issues as well. And she works with women on body image, getting back into the body and all this great stuff. But I read her post this morning while I was sitting in bed having coffee, listening to the rain. I was reading some of her stuff, and she was talking about how back in, I think she said 1958 or something. I snagged her post. I'm going to share it in an article and everything and tag her in it. But she was talking about back in 1958, 59. Don't hold me to that because I don't remember the date. I just read this once. And I know that hysteria got dropped. I thought it was in the 60s, 50s, 60s. The word hysteria got dropped. And what hysteria is, if you're not familiar with it, hysteria was placed on the feminine at the turn of the century because women were going hysteric, crazy. They were acting out. They were so moody, they became mentally, emotionally so unstable that society could not handle women. And they were like, what is going on? And then these researchers came along and they figured out, well, if a woman gets actually an orgasm, she doesn't have hysteria. Oh, wow, she doesn't. Like, there's not, what hysteria is pent up sexual energy, the repression of, and especially at the turn of the century, women were basically just human fleshlights to their partners, and it was not about, there was very few women that were actually receiving sexual arousal, sexual connection. They weren't getting even the postage stamp version. It was just go. And the guy got off, and that's all it was. They were there to look pretty on the arm, to serve a purpose of doing different things, and to provide this service to the men of making sure that the guys were taken care of sexually. And the women built up all of this hysteria to a point that it was destroying them emotionally, mentally, and physically to this level of what we termed hysteria. And thus the vibrator was created from this experience. And so we have this experience of like, okay, well, the vibrator got created. Well, the vibrator only solves so much. And also it numbs us out. It creates a whole vast variety of issues of its own. But better those issues some days than the issues of this pent up anxiety and tension around our sex where we can't let it out. So you would think, well, we don't really hear the term hysteria anymore. That's because it was dropped in the 50s and it was actually broken up into different aspects of issues. So some of the things that also mean hysteria, and tell me, ladies, put it if you have the guts for it, or gentlemen, if you know a lady or you are familiar with this, some of us at different times we might experience. Here's what hysteria is today: the overworkers, the overexercisers, the OCD, anxiety, fatigue, hormonal mood swings, migraines, those chronic issues that we don't really know what causes it, but it's there and we have all these symptoms, but there's really not any physical going on. That's the repressed sexual energy. PMS. Thank you, Addison. PMS. Yes. PMS is this whole thing. Addison and I actually taught a class a few weeks ago. We've taught 2 classes using like what is the feminine, and we characterized, like here's some positives of the feminine, here's some negatives of the feminine, and all these others in between. And what we did was we were like, here's the healed feminine, here's the wounded feminine, and these things in the middle are the feminine that can go either direction, okay? That can go either direction. And I know that a lot of people in the room were questioning some of our choices as to what we meant on that. But the reality is that when a woman is undersexed, and I don't just mean undersexed, I mean under-orgasmed, that we deal with so much. Our menstrual cycles are irregular and stronger. Our hormones are so freaking just detrimental to us. They wipe us out. We have, depression and weight gain. We have irritability. We got fatigue. We have these chronic migraines and headaches. We have just a lackluster life. Like we just kind of, we don't have the compassion. We don't have the nurturing sense that we normally would. We really go into I don't give a fuck mode. Like that, we shut down. When we shut our sex down, we shut down. So, what's the answer, right? What's the answer? There's so much research done, and yet researchers are all stuck in their head, okay? They're all stuck in their head. They have a tough time going to the answers because they're looking for the logic. They're looking for something tangible. They're looking for, they're men and women in Mr. Fix-It mode that are trying to deal with something that they don't understand and that they themselves have probably not experienced because they're so stuck in their head. The answer is to go back to the body. The answer is embodiment. And as a woman, it is our role to, if we love ourselves, if we want to experience the depth of life, this love for ourselves, to heal, to experience the vastness of orgasm, of pleasure, of life, of connection, of intimacy. We really want to have those relationships, not just in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom with our friends, our family, our children, and yes, most certainly our lovers, and with ourselves, and even with God. We want to experience that, then we have to go here. We have to heal this. We have to be willing to face the fear of our sex, to face the fear of letting ourselves open up to rapture. We have to face it and we have to move into it because it's so healing, so healing. And I can tell you that it's emotional. It can be painful at times and it can be scary and edgy. But at the end of the day, it is beautiful. And it is this birthing process of self that happens through deep penetrative orgasm. And I'm not talking about dick and pussy here, penetration. I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about being penetrated at a level that it can only come from the soul and the heart and the mind and the body all coming together, meeting and penetrating at that level. When a man is thinking about his work, when a man is thinking about, oh, how quickly can I get her off so that I can get off? When a man is stuck just at the tip of his cock and he's just focused on that little edgy feeling and he's not really feeling her, he's not really tapped into his breathing, he's not really tapped into his heart, he's not tapped into the pleasure that's coming from the two of them, then he's not fucking present. And we can feel that. I know that every woman out there, whether you want to admit it or not, you know that there is these moments when you're in your sex, and maybe it's more moments than what you ever care to count. I know that in my married life, my ex-husband and I, and even my last long-term partner of almost 8 years, we reached this point where it just became, just this like, it was nothing. And there was no depth, there was no connection. And a lot of it was, I had just given up on trying to even make the connection, because the more I asked for the connection, the more I felt him run away from the connection. He wasn't wanting it, he was just wanting to get off. I was his masturbation tool. And when men treat us like a masturbation tool, then we feel that there's emptiness, there is nothing to it. And this is how you make sure to not make your woman happy. This is how you make sure to not please your woman, to not turn her on, to not get her to not fulfill her, is to use her as a masturbation tool. If she's just your human fleshlight, then that's not love. It's not good sex. It's never going to get her anywhere. And don't tell me that you love her, that she's your best friend, that she's your anything, because she's not. She's just a human flesh toy at this moment, right? That's all she is to you. Masturbation, get off, and oh, maybe I'll get her off too real quickly. So I'm going to take her, I'm going to take her hand and I'm going to make her stroke her clit while I'm quickly moving back and forth, or I'm going to stroke her clit and I'm going to just do it like this. Do you know how big? Over 9,000 nerve endings on the tip of the clitoris. Do you know how big of a space this is? Now, number one, we all know that the clitoris is this itty bitty space, right? It's not very big. Even for the biggest clits out there, it's still not very big. And the spot that you gentlemen are going for, and I'm gonna do this because you're not even gonna see it, right? See this? I just pulled one hair now. See? And I can't even make you see it in the camera. But the tip of this hair is the spot that you're going for. There are 9,000 nerve endings on that. So when we have the tip of the nerve like this, and we go like this, we are just running around the nerve. And every now and then, you might hit it, and she goes, this is startling to the system. This is not turn on. This is not, oh baby, do more. This is not, oh man, you're amazing. That's fucked up. That's fucked up because you're basically just poking me with a pen right now, poking me with a needle on my clit, causing a shock system to happen, and thinking that you're doing something. That's not, no, this doesn't work. We don't go around in circles. We focus in, we pay attention to that area with care, with love. And if you really want your woman to have a clitoral orgasm in this case, and focus on the fucking clit, not on her face, okay? Not on any of that, because if you're just going for you're just into her shock factor, not into her pleasure. So, that doesn't work. And us women grow weary and tired, and we just basically get to a point where we're going to fake it to get you off of us, out of us, and away from us, because you're not getting it. You're clueless. And as long as you're clueless, then what's the purpose? Like, seriously, that's what vibrators are for. We got dildos, we got vibrators, we got our own hands. And yeah, that's not going to be as deep. It's not going to be as intimate. It's not going to give us the connection with somebody else. But better to serve self in this moment than to try to reteach a grown-ass person as to how to do something who's just not paying attention. And I can tell you that over and over again. I work with different men on this, and I try to explain. I have a great big pussy pillow, which I think I've pulled into a conscious coffee somewhere in the past. I have this pussy pillow, and I'll go and I'll show them on the pussy pillow, and I'm like explaining to them, or I'll explain to them and send them home, and then she's just like, yeah, he's still not getting it. Well, you're not getting it because you're not present. You're not present. Become fucking present in your sex. Ladies and gentlemen together, become present in your sex. The de-shaming, the de-armoring of our sex, the owning of our sex comes from our presence, not from our lack of presence. It requires two people in this case. If we are with a partner, both parties actually have to want to have a positive experience, have to want to receive and give, to fulfill. And when we come to that space, great. If we're just trying to get off because, oh, I need a stress relief, or, oh, she owes this to me, I bought her flowers today, or, oh, I'm the primary breadwinner, she should happily spread her legs and let me do what I want with that piece of her. Really? So, yeah, watch yesterday's Conscious Coffee. No, if you really want to satisfy your woman, slow the fuck down, become extremely present, not with her face so much, but with your feelings and her body, her whole body. Become present with that. Become present with her breathing. Really tap in and feel her whole being. I have this exercise I call cock consciousness, and I try to teach men how to become extremely present in their cock and how to feel different aspects of the inside of their woman instead of just going for friction-based in and out sex, which does, FYI, nothing for a woman. If you're just doing this, you're doing nothing, absolutely nothing for her, except for every now and then hurting her cervix because you jab up against it and it feels like you just sent an ice pick up against her cervix. So that's not pleasurable, not going to get her to be vulnerable, not going to satisfy her. So the faster, harder routine until she is really opened up. Faster and harder can be wonderful when a woman's had a few good deep orgasms and is very open to it and can take it, but she will let you know when that is going on versus you just going in for the plunge of just trying to get yourself off. Satisfying a woman means slowing down. A lot of it is just slowing. And I don't mean slowing down to the point of a sloth here. I mean slowing down in your presence, in taking the time, realizing that it takes a woman 20 to 40 minutes to get ready for penetrative sex. And that is with active foreplay. That doesn't mean I'm going to just sit and listen to you, or I'm going to hold your hand, or I'm going to do these irritating things of like, I had this one lover who decided that he was going to just do this, like to my chest, like this, except he was doing it down on my nipple. And he just did this for like 5 minutes. And I sat there just questioning myself, like, what the hell is he doing? It's just irritating. Like the same repetitive motion over and over on one spot makes me want to punch you. That's all it's doing. This is not a turn on. It does not feel good. It's irritating. So don't do stuff like that. Figure out what your woman likes. Ask her, like, what is it? What's your turn on? Every woman has a turn on. Figure out her erogenous zones and don't overdo any of them, but pay attention. Like, she's going to let you know. And ladies, speak the fuck up. Like, speak to them. Don't accept roses for an apology when you're really wanting him to just sit down and talk to you and actually have a little bit of respect and communication. I mean, I'm actually proud of my daughter for throwing the roses at her guy the other day, because that's bullshit. Roses don't solve shit. Okay, roses are a nice gesture when they're random and in any given moment, just to say, hey, honey, I'm thinking of you. I want you to have some beauty in the house, so that you can just think of beauty every now and then. That's great. Wonderful. I'm being an asshole to you. Here's a bundle of roses. Now spread your legs. No. But we got to stop saying yes. That's the thing. We got to stop saying yes. We got to actually love our sex and love ourselves enough to want something more from our sex, want something more from our partners, want something more from ourselves, want something more than this not even average, because average would probably be better than the mediocre bullshit sex that the majority of us get on a consistent time frame. And we wonder why there are, the majority of marriages, about 60% of marriages, I believe it was estimated, are sexless at this point in time. Over 50% of marriages end because of and of that, most of those are because of affairs. Do you know why affairs happen? Affairs happen not because there's not enough sexing going on. Affairs happen because the majority of the time, partners aren't getting satisfied. Men want more from women. Their women aren't giving it to them because the guys don't know how to get it from them because they don't know how to slow the fuck down. So then they go off and they have affairs with random women who can take a heated up moment with a little bit too much alcohol in her system and make him feel like the man again. Women go and have affairs because they need connection. They need somebody who, on the front side of a relationship, typically spend a little bit more time with them. So they're going after the touch. They're going after the communication. They're going after the intimacy. They're going after the time spent on their bodies, on the foreplay. That's why a woman has an affair, because she wants the depth that her man has not been giving her. A guy is looking for a feeling of, I want to feel like the man. I want a woman to come in front. Oh, look, this chick's coming all over the place. This is great. She's into me. She's hot. She's playful. She's this. She's da-da-da-da-da. And giving him the visual stimulation. And then the second one is that they're also looking for connection, but they don't know how to get it. Well, you get it from communication, you get it from presence, you get it from slowing down, you get it from taking time with the person that you're with and learning their bodies by communicating and being present with them. And the communication must be a two-way street. So ladies, speak your truth. Stop accepting this less than mediocre sexing that you're getting and start communicating what your needs are. If you don't know what your needs are, it's time to get familiar with your body. It's time to get back to your body and feel your body. If you think that you're non-orgasmic, if you have a bunch of anxiety, you can't get out of your head, you've been using the vibrator at the 900 volts that it can take out, and you bumped it up to the 1200 volt one, and you're just like, it's just not doing it for me anymore. Oh my goodness, I just can't reach it. Well, then you're numbed out. You're numbed out. You basically have built a callus around your clit, around your pussy in different ways. And this is just going to become a worse and worse situation, because the only way to defrost what you have frozen in that moment is to get back to the body, to slow down, to take the time with it, and to get your partner to slow down and take the time with you as well. You want to overcome depression. You want to overcome anxiety. You want to overcome the weight gain issues, the irregular cycles that you're having, the mood swings, the frustration, the lackluster life, the blah, I don't give a fuck experience that you are having. Get back to your body. Get back to your body. Embrace your sex. Learn how to get your fuck on properly. Take the shame off of it and become this beautiful, quenchless person that you can be. And guys, yeah, your woman can be quenchless. Your woman can desire so much of sex and passion and everything that you want. You know, a lot of men come to me and they're like, can you turn her into this sexual goddess? I'm like, I don't think you really want me to do that, because that means that she's got to learn her yes and her no. And that means that she's going to be telling you no. She's got to step into herself. She's got to learn her body. She's got to do certain things. And that's going to probably push you, because you don't understand what it means. You want a woman in power, then you're going to have to breathe in her fire. And most guys don't really truly want that. They don't understand it. It sounds great. The concept sounds great, but it's a scary place to be. But ladies, that's exactly what needs to happen. If you are to set the tone for all the women in the future, your daughters and your sisters and your friends, if you want to be that radiant, beautiful person that can stand strong in herself and feel good every single day of the week and not have all the shit that a lot of people have going on, well, this is how you get there. Your sex is the answer. Make this week just a moment in this week, a moment for you. A moment for stepping into you, a moment for experiencing you. Explore yourself. Get your partner to explore you. Stop going for the quickie. Stop accepting the quickie. And really, truly ask for more, because you deserve more. And so does he. And so does he. So, okay, on that note, I could go on and on and on. I am actually going to put out a couple articles today. I was thinking about this a few years back, like maybe 8 years back. I wrote a few articles. I did some, some radio shows, I think, on these topics as well. And so I just decided I'm going to throw some old articles out here today. So you're going to see some stuff popping on just to get some different viewpoints and give you some different ideas around this topic, because Valentine's Day is just a couple days away, and we have the wrong concept of it. It is not to buy flowers, chocolate, wine, and steak, take your girl out to to, the fanciest restaurant and all this good stuff just so that she'll spread her legs for you a little bit better and fake you out a little bit more. No, that's not what it is, ladies. We don't use our sex like that. We honor ourselves a little bit more. I mean, there's nothing wrong with roses and wine and activities and your man spending money on you. That's wonderful. Be that vessel of abundance for it to come through and for him to want to give that to you. But get your intent right. That is what needs to happen here. It needs to be an intent of abundance. Let's get abundance flowing through us versus let me purchase your pussy for the next 15 minutes. That just should not be happening unless that's your career choice. And if that's your career choice, then so be it. Go have fun with it. I hope you're doing great. That's wonderful. Bless you. But for the most part, I'm thinking that the majority of people that follow me are not wanting that for a career choice and wanting actually to find their soulmate, to find love, to be in love, to have deep, powerful, connective sex. And the way to that is an embodiment. So slow the fuck down this week and make your Valentine's Day about connection, about embodiment, and about really connecting at that deep, intimate level. So learn your yeses, learn your nos, speak your truth, get your fuck on, and eliminate this concept of needing to give any particular show to your partner. Instead, ask for what you need, ladies. Ask for what you need. I love you guys. You are going to see coming out here later today, gentlemen, I have the gift for you, and it is not put fully together, but this next week I will be running my Not Your Average Joe workshop. There will be a live updated teaching on that, and you will also be getting the full recorded and all the downloads. This is a powerful, powerful workshop for men. It will be globally accessed, so look for it to be coming out today. And this is just going to give you all the tips, tricks of how to be an exceptional lover, how to do some of the things that I talk about and that I share here. You want a woman to actually be quenchless. You want her to actually feel you. You want to understand what some of this tantric stuff is about. You want to maybe experience full body orgasms for yourself and for your partner. Well, I've got the answers for you. I can help you with all of that stuff and so much more. Look for the details on that. Ladies, if you are single or if you just want to kind of redesign the relationship that you have and you're like, well, how do I redesign? Like, I don't want to get rid of the man that I'm with, but I certainly like for him to be more like this, or maybe you want to call in the lover of your life. Well, let's look at manifest your man. This is the steps to creating that conscious lover, the steps to creating the man that really does offer up all of the stuff that I've been talking about over the last couple weeks and so much more. So look for that. That is out and going for this week. It is a very, very powerful, powerful workshop that I believe will help many, many women. Look for the details of that in the comments section. And Average Joe will be announced later today on both my profile and my business page and my newsletter and everywhere else, because that's how I roll. And as always, know your worth. Know your worth in the bedroom and outside the bedroom. You are a vessel of abundance and beauty and radiance, and you deserve so much more, ladies. And gentlemen, if you really love your woman, show her how beautiful she is by slowing the fuck down and applying a little bit of presence to your sex. I love you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.